Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, but Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 102, The Thing You Love Most. It was directed by Greg Beeman and written by the showrunners Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. I do promise eventually they will stop writing the episodes. There will be different people. But the first couple, and I think they write the pilot, or so they write the first episode and the last episode of every season.
Okay, that's fun.
But I promise next week, I believe, is written by someone else.
Okay.
I do promise next time's written by someone else.
I do not tend to keep up with who's writing what.
I
on mine.
do. I do because with my notes I like to see commonalities between high and low scoring episodes to see if there's like directors or writers that they have in common.
All right, I can see that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into a little bit of synopsis for The Thing You Love Most. In Fairy Tale Land, after threatening to take away everyone's happiness, Regina is left with a conundrum. How is she going to do it? First, she must confront Maleficent, a sorceress and her oldest friend, to regain control of the Dark Curse, something she traded long ago. Once she attempts to enact it with the heart of her prized steed, it fails. To solve this next problem, she must go to the Dark One himself for advice. He informs her that what she will need is the heart of the thing she loves most. Despite that person dying because of Snow White, there is someone else she truly loves who could be the key. Sacrificing her father, Regina decides that her only key to happiness is a fresh start in a new land. And in Storybrooke, the morning after Emma decides to stay in town, things are a little different. While the townsfolk go about their daily routines, the Clocktower begins to chime again, signaling that things are about to change. Emma has stuck around to get to know Henry, and Regina is determined to keep her sons safe. While the two quarrel on a number of occasions, one of which involving a chainsaw and an apple tree, ultimately, the only one who may get hurt in this battle is Henry. Emma does what she can to mend their relationship, and she ultimately decides that her 1 week stay is going to be a little longer. Who will be there to protect him if she can't? Okay. So, initial thoughts. Now that we know a little bit about the curse, how are we feeling?
Do you want to know the one note that I time-stamped?
Yes.
1 minute and 32 seconds into the episode, I wrote, I need more Ruby.
We all need more Ruby. To me, she is the most underutilized character on the show, quite frankly. She could be on screen far more.
That was just the first thought that came into my head. But when it comes to like the curse and everything, I'm starting to get more information. I am enjoying it, but I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Because I think we both feel the same on Ruby.
Oh, absolutely. No, I love her unapologetically. Ruby is the love of my life. Or one of them on the show. Let's be real here. There's plenty. Actually, I'm looking. Oh, she is on my poster in the background. Not that anyone's listening can see this, but she's there.
I see her.
Yeah. So this one brought in one of my favorite characters. That would be Maleficent. It's really a shame we don't see more of her. I will just unfortunately tell you, she's in a few episodes in season 1, and then she comes back for another arc in season 4. Because at the time of filming this, she was on True Blood actively. Kristen Bauer, who played Maleficent once, was Pam Swinford de Beaufort on True Blood, for anyone that's seen that. And she was actively, the show was actively going on at the time. I do know a little bit too much about her casting into our Did You Know right away, but it's too funny. She said this on a number of occasions, and I think the one that I get it from is a Dragon Con panel from 2015 or something like that, where she was home in Wisconsin with her mom, taking her mom to a hair appointment or something like that. And she got a call. It was a conference call with agent, manager, lawyers. It was this big thing. And they were calling her trying to determine whether it made sense for her to do Once Upon a Time. Basically, she would need to wrap for the week for True Blood on Friday, fly up to Vancouver for Saturday, film Saturday, Sunday, come back on that Monday. So they're going over all of the whether the money's worth it. I think her agent might have been college roommates with one of the showrunners or something like that. And ultimately, her mom's she doesn't like being late to her hair appointments, so she's kind of rushing her to get through the phone call. And ultimately, what she ends up doing is she flips a quarter. Heads I do it, tails I don't. She flips a coin and just goes, I'm doing it. I gotta go. My mom hates being late, and hangs up the phone.
Oh, wow.
That was the end of the decision. So basically, it was based on a quarter flip. And then when she got there, she got a call from like someone from costumes, basically to get her measurements, and they just say, "Yeah, I think it'll fit you." And like that's not normal for these kinds of situations. It wasn't until she got there, she tried on the costume. They were showing her the green set where that filming was going on, and they showed her like what the visual of it would look like. There was another actor in the frame in her costume. We don't know who that actor was. She was replacing somebody. But we don't know who this is.
I like it's a little mystery.
It's a little mystery. People have speculated about who it is. I can't imagine anyone else doing this. I think she's phenomenal as Mal.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint who else could
exactly
it have been?
Who else could it have been? But I love that. Just like it's just a flip of a quarter. Like I'm just doing it. I gotta go. Hangs up the phone on like 4 different people. But I love her to death, and I love that character. I love her in that character.
I relate to her mom.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate being late.
I hate being late. Like let's just
I relate. I relate.
Yeah.
Are you ready for chaotic notes?
Tell me. I want all the chaotic notes.
The first one. Okay, so there's lots of caps.
Okay, I mean, mine too. I wrote Maleficent just all in caps.
I wrote what heathen ripped a book. The bookworm in me was angry.
The bookworm child ripped those pages out of that book.
That got to me. And then the next one you're going to love because it's bitch, those are red delicious. Because that's not...
Okay.
Honey Crisp? What?
Let's talk about it. So Regina being like the agricultural girl that she is with her whole... Did you know that the Honeycrisp tree is the hardiest and most vigorous of all apple trees? It can survive temperatures as low as 30 below and keep growing. She goes on this long spiel about Honeycrisp trees, which apparently were invented in Minnesota. I did not know that. I got that from That Midwestern Mom video.
Ooh, we're learning.
We learn things every once in a while. But yeah, no, they are fully red delicious apples.
As someone who buys Honeycrisp apples very often, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I think I should look this up. I think Red Delicious apples might be more native to Maine than Honeycrisp, but I'm not sure.
But I could just said it. Red Delicious.
Either way, they're filming this in Vancouver.
What?
We can get into this in a little bit because I have a whole thing that's just the geography of Storybrooke. The entirety of the show is filmed in Canada.
Okay. Well, the next one, I think I was actually texting you because that was the whole I'm obsessed with the evil queen's boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one had to be on there.
That's her signature outfit. Like that one, like she wears the costume on the show is phenomenal. And to be fair, I think the costume designer was nominated for multiple Emmys for her costumes. But that outfit is just iconic with like the red
I love it
and all of that.
It's like, beautiful. Keep her in it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy this. Keep that coming. See. I love that in the first episode, she said that she was taking everybody to a terrible place, but then says, no, it is a better realm in this episode. Because I'm like, wait, is it terrible and wonderful? What's going on there?
Well, she's saying it's a new, better realm for the villains, basically. She's like, that's because she's saying that to the group at the very beginning, right? She's saying it for the people that, because she's asking for the lock of hair from the darkest souls at that point. So the place where they can finally win.
Which led to the lawn gnome.
Yes, the lawn gnome in front of her her tree. I love it.
You'll like this one too, though. I cackled at when Henry sees Emma eating the apple, like going to eat the apple, and he just chucks it behind him. I was like, yes.
That hilarious. Is one. I wrote that. I think I wrote that down. Also, hang on. Please tell me I wrote this down. I have a case of what I call blooper brain rot in that goodness. I've seen the bloopers far too many times. Yeah, I wrote this one down. So I see some of them. So that one, he completely missed the line when they were doing it, but he still chucked the apple. So it's just like, where'd you get that? Jennifer Morrison forgot the line. She just went, we never, and then he took it from her and said, don't eat that, and just threw it. Like, she didn't even say the line.
Oh my God.
It's beautiful. That's my blooper brain rot. That will pop up as often as me knowing lines.
That is hilarious.
Is the bloopers. It's a problem.
The next one is, this so isn't how this works, and I just put LOL HIPAA.
Oh yeah, when she comes to get the Archie's not a good therapist.
No,
He's
Archie is
not.
a very bad therapist.
He does a lot of telling people things that they shouldn't know. Like,
I'm just sitting there like, I don't know, you can't do that. That's not how
no,
that works. But okay.
it is not. It's not.
It's really not how that works at all. And I thought that was hilarious. The next one is also completely capitalized and it just says daddy with a question mark.
Oh, is that about at the very end with Henry Senior?
I think when she first called him daddy.
Oh, okay. When she says "daddy," I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because then, of course, it
Mm-hmm.
kept because I was like, I just want to know what Snow took from the evil queen that made her this way.
Yeah,
I wrote that this episode did have me wanting more. I'm really enjoying it. It's keeping me hooked.
that's good.
And then we get to the ending, and I am in all caps again saying, "The boy I procured for you." What?
The boy I procured for you. Yeah.
That word.
So we do actually see Regina adopt Henry in season 3. That's one of my favorite episodes. That makes me cry every time.
Oh no.
So transitioning into talking about Mr. Gold, because this is the first time we see the two of them interact like at all on the show, and it's the first time that the scene between Rumple and Regina in the cell is actually, that was their very first time filming together ever,
Oh
which is a pretty
wow.
intense scene for like, I'm sure they'd met before, but it's a pretty intense scene. The two of them got on really well. Like they've said, like with that kind of like intensity of the physicality, you have to trust the person really. You have to either get on with them really well or trust them really well to just let go in that scene. But the two of them got on really well. They were like very good friends throughout all of filming. And I did write down, this was actually a note that I'd written down for the last episode, but I'm like, you know what? We can just bring this on into the next
Oh
one.
yeah.
We're running on too long, because I knew that this was coming also. So Robert Carlyle is a phenomenal actor. He goes very deep into like the methods and like things that he's picked up throughout his years. He's very prolific. I think right before this, he was on some version of Stargate, I think. Um,
Okay.
but I got this from a PaleyFest event that they did that year, that he kind of had. It was like a threefold way of getting the Rumpelstiltskin kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
He said he took a lot from like his like mask work and drama school, because like kind of like with the Dark One kind of like visage going on, like he kind of like, it makes you act a different way. He took a little bit of like the physicality, like the hand kind of doing all these things
Mm-hmm.
from Italian Commedia dell'arte. I don't know what that is, but I trust him. And lastly, his voice, because his voice is very different from
Oh
Storybrooke
yeah.
versus the Dark One. You know, you've got the Snow White and Prince Charming, like all that, you know, creepiness,
With a little bit of flair.
Little bit of
A
flair.
little
He
bit of
got
flair.
with the hand. Um, he he got the voice actually from his 6-year-old son.
I
His
love
son
that.
was like kind of like bopping around like the house or whatever one day, just kind of like going like ba-da-ba-dee
Oh
kind of
my
thing,
god.
and he's like,
I have children. They do that a lot.
exactly. So like he's like, that's the voice that he wants to use. And like he's Scottish. Like I love what they do with accents on the show, because for the most part, most of the actors get to use their natural accents, because I think
Mm-hmm.
they feel like you get a more honest performance out of somebody if they don't have to worry about how they're saying the things that they're saying.
Yeah.
Not Robert Carlyle. He's got a very heavy Scottish accent that he does not use.
But then, he did say please, so I'm just like, oh, they both know. They're both aware.
That's the thing, is does he? Does he know though?
He said please.
But that doesn't mean that he knows.
So, I want to know things.
Okay. So what things do you want to know? What questions do you have that I may or may not be able to answer?
Oh, so what is this geography of Storybrooke?
Okay, yeah, so the geography of Storybrooke, another thing that I wrote down for last time that I figured it's not important.
It is important.
It's important in such a way.
Okay.
So with Storybrooke, they film it in more or less the exteriors are two towns in like I think like Richmond, Vancouver, BC. Steveston is one, and then Fort Langley is another one. Steveston is going to be your main street of Storybrooke. It's where you got Granny's Diner, where they're walking down the street and all that. Yeah, I believe Town Hall is Fort Langley, as well as the school is also, I believe, Fort Langley. But this is
Okay.
something that bothers me as I watch the show is the world building that involves the school bus. Because there are times when you'll see Henry get in the school bus from in front of his house, from in front of Granny's. He can just walk to school apparently from anywhere. Why is there a school bus? Is my question.
The important questions.
Because based off of my best guess, it's the whole town is not very big. I think I figured out from the town line to the center of town is maybe 2 miles.
That's it.
It's not very big. Based off of my best guess, I've used timestamps from the season 1 finale to figure that out. Based off of the Clocktower. But it's not a very big town. Like in general.
So why is there a bus?
Exactly, that's my question.
I
have no idea. There should not be a school bus. But that's my thing is like the structure of the town is a little wonky, only because they're using 2 different towns to film. But more CGI for you. When it comes to the structure of Storybrooke, the Clocktower is CGI.
Oh my god, what?
The building is there, but the Clocktower itself is CGI.
I thought it was just a clock.
No, it's the clock. The clock itself is added digitally. They always felt bad because the Clocktower is on top of the Storybrooke Library. That's boarded up. Businesses are open during filming. Very often, the extras you see in the background are people just going about their business in town. But that's a hardware store. That's that building that they needed to be. They needed to. I think maybe they had a back entrance. I don't know, but they had to look like they were closed throughout most of at least the first season.
Oh wow.
Which always felt a little bit bad. But this is something that a friend of mine pointed out in the scene with Henry throwing the apple behind him as they walk down the street.
Yes.
You can see the reflection of that building in a window. They didn't add the CGI for the Clocktower.
That's very close attention to detail.
I only noticed it because she pointed it out. Like I would never have noticed. I hadn't noticed that in 10 years, but it's blink and you miss it.
Why do I have to go watch and see it now? Now I need to see this.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh man. How many times am I going to end up watching this episode?
I don't know. It's a good episode. I like this one a lot. It is a good episode.
Rumple makes me feel weird though. Like I like Mr. Gold better than I like Rumple.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. He's a trip, I will say. The thing with him knowing is I don't know. I can't tell you.
I mean, you could, but you're not going to.
I could. Exactly, I could. This is a spoiler. Whether he knows or not isn't
dangling a carrot in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like, maybe. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you even if I wanted to.
Exactly. So I was talking about Maleficent before. I realized she's much further in my notes than the very beginning, but since I brought her up because I love her to death. This is the introduction of one of my favorite non-canon ships, which is Dragon Queen, because the Once Upon a Time fandom, for whatever reason, is one of the few shows where like the ship names aren't always combining the character names. Like there's a few that are like that.
I like this.
The one that comes to mind is Brangelina, but that's not...
That's what you mean, but not like the example you want to give.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. When like we have a few of those, like Snow and Charming.
Okay. That's funny.
There's a few that are like that. Most of them are these random epitaphs that we've just assigned to characters.
Oh my goodness.
So like Queen is Regina, Dragon is Mal.
I just like it for the name of it.
It's a great name.
I love that.
But like you'll always see Queen or you'll see Regal on something. Like that's kind of what they give for any ships that have Regina in them. Emma is usually Swan, stuff like that. There's far too many of them. Like honestly, you could probably name 2 characters. I could probably tell you what the ship name for them is. There's a lot of them.
Ooh. What was the guy I liked in the first one?
What, Leroy?
Leroy, yes! So we got Leroy. Let's think. And Granny.
I don't think they have
Leroy and Granny.
I don't think they have a ship, although someone is free to correct me.
Murphy's Law?
It probably exists.
I had to come up with the 2 weirdest, the just weirdest combination.
Now I need to look it up. There is actually a website that has a bunch of ship names. Hang on.
If Leroy and Granny are one, I'm gonna be in a very good mood.
Okay, this is actually missing one.
What?
Um,
The fact that you know that.
no, yeah, the list is because it's got two of them, neither of which is. I can't tell you the one that I
Yeah,
can't
it's
tell you the
fine.
one that I think is missing. One of which is Snow and Grumpy, but is just their names combined. It's Snow Rumpy. I hate it. I hate it
Snow
so much.
Rumpy?
It's terrible.
Name of the
That's
episode
off.
right there.
That's
Snow Rumpy.
that's awful. Um, that's terrible.
I love it so much.
Not the rabbit hole I thought we were gonna go down, but I love it.
Not
I'm here for it.
the, but I love the journey.
Yeah.
Oh
But yeah,
my
there's a whole
god.
website that's got ship names. For the most part, like I'm usually pretty good. If you gave me two characters that were a ship at some point or something like that, I
What
could
would be
give you
the
the name.
weirdest ship to you?
I'm the wrong person to ask for that. My
Okay.
mentality quite literally is do the characters look at each other for too long? Are the actors good friends? Would the actors look attractive next to each other?
So many.
I've shipped characters because I come from the fan fiction sector of
Yeah.
of this fandom. I've written pairings of characters that never met in canon, nor would they ever have met in
Oh my
canon.
god.
Like, that's the depths to which that I go. So I'm the wrong person to ask for the weirdest ship. I can promise you, this is my one no TP for the show. No
Mhm.
TP being one that a ship that I will never ship. Um, Rumple and Regina, otherwise known as Golden Queen.
That sounds wrong.
It does.
That sounds oh wow.
Yeah, no,
Um
that's not a ship that I've ever liked in my
nope.
life.
Nope, I don't think I like that one. I
No.
don't like that. I don't like this.
No. So let's go back
My
into the ship that I do like, or that
Yeah,
do
let's
have.
do that cuz now my body feels weird.
Let's go back to talk about Dragon Queen because you can't convince me that didn't happen.
That's my nickname. Zachariah started calling me the Dragon Queen. I added it to everything.
You are the Dragon Queen,
So I love
but
this.
these two, it's just their banter, like the two of them, their chemistry hit from the beginning, which is
Oh
good
yeah.
considering Kristen Bauer was there for like a day, apparently. Like it's you got great chemistry with the two of them. The unicorn, unfortunately, apparently like they kind of just like dyed the hair black, so they warned her like, don't pet it, your hand will turn black, and she's like, I'm gonna pet it. So
It's
the
a
poor horse,
pony. Yeah,
the
it's a
poor pony.
you have to pet the pony.
I know, and she's like an animal rights activist, so she was not happy that like they did that to the animal, but
Oh
like she wanted to make
no.
sure it was okay. Um, but it's got one of my favorite lines, I think, in the entire show, which is it starts with Regina's line of, "The only comfort for me is Snow White's suffering. Well, it's her wedding night. I doubt she's suffering right now."
Yeah, that was a good one. Their entire interaction was I loved it.
That whole thing is it's a great interaction just in general, and then it has the invocation of a through line that we'll see throughout the season and the whole show, which is love is weakness.
Mm.
We see that a lot, and we see where Regina gets that from, and it's just the fact that it comes from her in that moment is very powerful, especially from my end, knowing where things go and where things came from. It's a very powerful moment.
Mm-hmm. It does sound like Storybrooke might need a new therapist, though.
Yeah, Archie is not the best, and I've got other examples that I can't talk
And
about
there
yet.
sounds like some people need some help through some emotions.
Just a few.
Just a few. I mean, would you curse an entire like kingdom if you didn't have issues?
Yeah, like, would you curse the entire kingdom if you had healthy coping mechanisms? I
Oh
don't
my
think
god.
so.
I don't think so either.
No.
Whew.
Uh,
This was a good one.
this is good. I do love having Jiminy Cricket being the town therapist, like a conscience being.
Same.
It's a good. I get it. I mean, his name is Dr. Hopper. Like, I get it,
I love it. And
but
that
he's
and
just,
Pongo being his pet.
yeah, I love that.
I was like, it's Pongo, but
He's
where's...
an adorable dog. Corella shows up at some point. We see her.
Do I get more Pongo?
Yeah, Pongo pops up here and there
Yay,
the entire
okay.
time.
I know, I'm
We
like,
see
where's
him.
the dog?
Unfortunately, it's going to be quite a few seasons before you see Corella, but she is chaos incarnate, and I love her to death. She is one
We
of my
both know how
favorites.
much I love chaos.
Yeah, she's chaos incarnate. She is like another through line throughout the show is evil's not born, it's made. That's kind of the idea with the show is we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing these backstories. Corella is the opposite. Corella, here is one of her lines. It's just, I'm a really terrible person. Like, she knows that she can't do any better, and she doesn't try to. She knows she's not wired that way.
I really like her now.
Unfortunately, you have to wait until the end of season 4 to see her.
And when will that be on the timeline?
At the rate we're going, 3 years.
3 years. See you in 3 years.
See you in 3 years.
Oh my god.
When you get to see the beauty that is Victoria Smurfett.
Smurfette?
Smurfett.
Smurfette. Thank you. I thought I heard Smurfette, and I got very confused for a second.
No. Yeah, Smurfett is it. That's also her given last name, I believe. She is, not to go off on a massive tangent, but she's a delightful human being as well. She's one of the cast members that I've met, like, through various convention situations. Yeah. It was a GalaxyCon during the pandemic. They were doing, like, those one-on-one, like, live chat things. I paid for the minimum 2 minutes for that. She extended it to the full 20 minutes. The program cut us off.
Oh, wow.
She was not supposed to do that. She's the one that I taught what unicorn hunters are.
Oh my god, I remember this.
Yeah.
Because when we had to teach some of our friends what a unicorn even was.
Exactly. So yeah, that's something that I never thought I'd be able to say in my life, and I'm still confused as to why that happened, but I'm not ungrateful about it.
I don't know what to say to that one, because that's a pretty interesting conversation to have with a celebrity.
It's a great, and I have the whole thing recorded, because GalaxyCon gives you the recordings. So, like, nice. I just have it. I have it forever.
What was the reaction to unicorn hunting?
She just went, "Oh, what?" as I explained to her what it is. She's like, "Wait, hang on, okay." And also because she's Irish, so, like, okay. I'm trying to not do her accent, but that was just, she's just like, "Okay, hang on. So wait, like, did they tell you that?" And, like, as I was trying to explain to her how it works.
Are people upfront with their hunting?
Exactly. She's like, asking these, and she's like, "Well, hang on, because you might not want anything to do with naked maleness. So how do you deal with that?" And I'm like, "Well, once I figure out what they're doing, I just say no, thank you."
You have that saved forever.
I have that conversation forever.
Forever.
So do you want to hear some of my chaotic notes? Because I have...
Yes.
I'm not going to read all of them. But I just have a lot of them.
I'm okay with this.
Oh, this isn't even a chaotic note, but apparently in the Honeycrisp but actually Red Delicious apple scene, it's hard to tell, but supposedly Emma wasn't wearing pants. She just answered. I think this might be a detail in one of the Once Upon a Time novelizations that shows the scene from a different angle. Supposedly she just answered the door in a tank top and her underwear. I don't know how accurate that is.
But with the other conversation they had that made me feel things, what?
The one with the tree or the one at the end?
The one with the tree. The one with the tree.
The tree. I think that's another thing I wrote down when Regina says to Graham when she's picking up the apples off the ground. She's like, she defaced town property. I want her arrested. After, like, she had her arrested for taking Henry's files from Archie. But to be fair, she actually did that one. She actually defaced city property.
She did.
So, like, to be fair, that one was very much something that she could have her arrested for. Just saying.
But I love that the actual sheriff's like, "How many times are you gonna make me do this?"
Yeah, he's like,
"I don't want to do this."
He's like, "I know you'll come at her and she'll come at you and you'll get her and you may succeed." She's like, "No, I will succeed. This is
exhausting. Please stop bickering."
Exactly.
Like, there's the mentality there.
Calm down. Everyone calm down.
It's like wrangling toddlers. It's wrangling toddlers.
Children. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is That's what I told my husband. He agreed.
Okay. Another one of Regina's just, like, power moves is putting the boot on Emma's car. And then...
That's, like, so annoying.
It is. I mean, because, to be fair, she's got to have to get that off. Yep. But, like, when she calls her, it's like, am I correct in assuming that your resolve was to stay is only growing? And she goes, "Why don't you drive over to my office? Or walk. Whatever suits you." Like...
It's a wonderful
ma'am.
moment.
I just wrote "babe" in all caps. Like, calm down.
But also, we enjoy this.
I mean, I love it because then we also have the scene the scene after that where which I was able to speak along to that whole spiel at the very end. I can't recite it for you now. I don't think I'd get the whole thing correctly, but it's just like, did I know that my son comes here every whatever day it is at precisely 5 p.m. so I can take him for dinner? Of course I did. I'm his mother. Mic drop. Like like the power move that was that scene is just like beautiful, in my opinion, just to watch.
Myself as a mom, though, I'm in that same scene of like, you bitch, you just hurt your child's feelings to make a
Yeah.
point.
No, I mean, yes, we don't condone her actions, but they're very entertaining.
Entertaining is a
They're,
good word for that.
this is what I say about so many of the villains on this show is like, I mean, we don't condone their actions, but God, if they're not entertaining.
Exactly. Oh.
One thing I will never understand about this show is insinuating that hot cocoa with cinnamon is weird. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah, where did that become a quirk? I
I
thought
don't know, because
everyone did that.
I get that I get the through line that they're trying to do with it, that Henry likes it, Emma likes it, Mary Margaret likes it, so, kind of getting that whole thing of everyone's connected. I get it, but that's not a weird thing.
Nope.
To my understanding.
Because I really love a good, like, thick hot chocolate with marshmallows and whipped cream and then a little bit of cinnamon on top.
Mm-hmm. It's delicious. So I don't entirely understand why they went with that specifically, but
Trying to be quirky.
I guess, I don't know, maybe it would have been quirkier to put something else in it. I don't know. So I literally I wrote down, because also I didn't realize Emma's tattoo is very visible in that scene with her and Mary Margaret at the end. She's got a tattoo on the inside of her wrist of a flower.
Oh.
That's not Jennifer Morrison's tattoo. She decided to add that for whatever reason.
I mean, that's why I have tattoos for whatever reason.
Yeah, I had never noticed it that early on. But in that scene with Emma and Mary Margaret, like, I just love that line because I love their banter. I love Emma and Mary Margaret's relationship all throughout the first season, and throughout the entire show, but predominantly the first season because it's a different dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Is when she says, for what it's worth, I think you're innocent of breaking and entering, or just in general, whatever makes you feel better. It's just such a cute.
It's wholesome.
It's very wholesome, and it's just like it's adorable. And she's the one that says, like, who will protect him if you can't, and all that. And I love Mary Margaret / Snow White. Her opinions of her are contentious in the fandom, that I can go on a spiel on another day about why I think that is.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've only done 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so far, I mean, there's not a whole lot about her to dislike. I think most of the dislike comes from later seasons, I think. But I can go on it. That's not a spiel for today. That might be like, once you know the whole situation.
Gotcha.
Because we still don't know. All we know is that, like, Snow did something and someone Regina loved is no longer with us. That's kind of all we know, right?
Yes.
At this point. So once we kind of see how the whole thing plays out, I'll be interested to see how your opinion of her shifts, if it does. Because the thing that Regina losing a loved one was actually something that Lana picked up on from the pilot. It's not in the pilot explicitly, but she picked up on that very quickly from the way the character was written, which I think is fascinating.
Okay.
So we will see what happens with that character as the show goes on.
Right now, I'm just enjoying myself. Because 2 episodes in, there's only so much to go off of. It's not like, first 3 seasons.
Exactly. You've got, like, the little bit of world building, and then, like, they've got, what is it? I wrote down also, the timing of these scenes is a little contentious with the way that things are written. Because it makes it seem like the flashbacks are all over the course of, like, a day, right? The way that it seems.
Yeah.
With the because her costume's the same, right? But if you listen closely to what Rumpel says when she sees him, is he says about Snow and Charming, they paid me a visit as well, which means that her going to ask him what happened actually happens after the scene where they go to talk to him about the curse. So that scene, and, like, because the Maleficent scene is the same day as the wedding, there's, like, 7 months technically between those scenes.
She really likes that outfit.
She really likes that outfit.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I like it too.
me too. It's a good outfit. Her costumes only get better. Like
Oh,
truthfully,
yay. That
her
makes me
costumes get
happy.
I mean, her storybook and her fairy tale costumes. They're beautiful.
Oh, I love them.
She could wear anything. Shall we go into data?
Yes. Yes, we
Okay,
should.
let's do the data.
So character, personal, and plot, all nines. I did not
Nice,
realize I did that till now.
very
All nines.
nice.
I really enjoyed this one.
Okay, I'm glad.
You're like, yay, it's working.
I'm slowly bringing you into the cult.
Yes. The cult. Oh God.
The cult.
The cult.
The Oncer cult.
Sounds like it could be actually a real thing.
I mean, well, Oncers are the name of the fandom. That's what we call ourselves.
I'm trying to think of. I know there's other because you have Whovians.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I haven't finished Doctor Who yet. I've seen quite a bit of it though.
Yeah, I'm missing some of it. I don't know.
I didn't finish Matt Smith.
Neither did I. Come to think
I
of it, I
didn't.
think I didn't finish Matt Smith, and then I skipped Capaldi, and I went right into Jodie Whittaker.
I saw like 2 episodes of the Capaldi,
Mm.
and that's all. I saw all of Tenet and all of Eckerson, but that's
Yeah,
it.
don't come for us, Uvians.
Please don't.
Please don't. Please don't.
Tenet was just so good.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was like, I can't, it doesn't feel right. But yeah, character, personal, and plot. Like the plot worked. It kept me engaged. It kept me wanting to know more. So I have to keep watching because I want to know more. And I really enjoy the characters, especially between Regina and Emma. Like this is a wonderful time.
So I'm pleasantly surprised that this one was nines across the board for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've stopped using decimals only because our scale is 3 categories and 10 points per category.
Mm-hmm.
I think decimals were overcomplicating things. So, very similarly to, it has kind of a very similar score. I gave it a 8 for plot, a 7 for character, and a 10 for personal, which
Okay.
gives it a 25. The pilot got like a 25.7 or something like that. So,
Okay.
like, I think I swapped character and plot. Um, this one, again for character, it gets a 7 for character because this episode is kind of an everyone's the asshole situation.
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone's kind of doing something they shouldn't be doing.
exactly. Like Emma is absolutely antagonizing Regina. Regina is using her son kind of to manipulate Emma into leaving. You just got Gold being creepy.
Oh, yep.
But it got a 10 because I think this one they're kind of finding their footing with the writing a lot more. They're kind of, outside of just getting the show picked up. They had at this point been picked up through episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
So they had that amount of story to tell until they found out if they got picked up for the rest of the season. So they knew what stories they wanted to tell. They're trying to figure out kind of how they wanted it to work. And this one is kind of the start of that.
Okay.
There are quite a few plot holes that I know of that I will not mention because this is written so far in advance of everything else. But for the most part, remains to be one of my favorite episodes. I know for a fact in 2 episodes, we're finally seeing no more 10s for personal.
No more?
At least not for a while.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know what my next few 10s for personal are, and after next week, I don't think we're going to be seeing one for quite a while.
This is going to be interesting, and I am intrigued.
I have far too many strong opinions about the show.
That's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
So you can voice those opinions.
Mm-hmm. I will leave us on my last minorly unhinged note. No one in this town has any regard for the apples. We have Henry throwing them every which way. We've got Emma cutting down the tree. And then we've just got Gold taking a bite and just chucking it behind him. Like, dudes, respect the foliage.
Respect the foliage. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers episodes, Season 1, Episode 3, Sacred Cow, and Season 1, Episode 4, Sexy Dance Fighting. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. And follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.